Okay, title. Why are scientists obsessed with crows? Well, it's not because they're big fans of Edgar Allan Poe or anything like that. It's because these birds are basically little geniuses. And we keep finding out new things about their intelligence that make us take them more seriously as a species. Seriously, there are over 40 different recognized species of crow in the world. And even though they all look pretty much the same to us, scientists have found that they all have one thing in common. They're super smart. In the animal kingdom, only primates and some sea creatures have been found to have what is called a large relative brain size, meaning that their brains are bigger than most other animals of their size. But crows have really big brains too. In fact, they have the biggest brains of any non-primate animal. So why do crows have such big brains? Well, researchers aren't sure. But they think it might be because crows use their smarts to solve complex problems, like where to find food and how to work together to get even more food. Basically, living in a big group with lots of other equally smart crows means you have to be clever just to keep up. And that's just one reason why scientists love studying them. Another is that they're great problem solvers. They can figure out how to get a tasty treat if they have the right tools. For example, in one experiment, crows were given a box with a sliding door and some tasty meat inside. The door was set up in a way that the meat would fall out if the crow pulled it open. But the crow couldn't figure out that the door would slide open if it pulled on it. So scientists added a little nudge. They put a stick through the bars of the cage so the crow could pull on it without actually touching the door. At first the crows figured out what the stick was for, but then they quickly figured out what it meant for the door. After just a couple of tries, the crows started pulling on the stick to get the meat out of the box. That's pretty smart. And there's even more evidence that crows are little geniuses. Like when scientists watched groups of crows play with toys, they noticed that each bird had its own favorite toy, and they would get really excited. If another crow tried to play with their favorite one, and they also seemed to understand that each other's favorite toy was different from their own, which suggests that they have some understanding of other crows' minds. This kind of thinking is usually associated with toddlers, not birds. But if crows are so smart, why don't they use that smarts to avoid cars and other human-made threats? Well, they're pretty good at avoiding cars, but they're not perfect. Figuring out where humans are and how to stay away from them is important because humans can be dangerous for a lot of reasons. Not only do we build giant metal boxes that go zoom and make loud noises, but we also hunt crows for fun and for food. But not all crows live in places where people are a serious threat, and those crows have actually figured out that humans aren't all that dangerous. In fact, some groups of crows will mob people, which means they fly around, squawking loudly, and try to dive bomb them. Some scientists think this behavior is actually a form of play, kind of like wrestling for other animals. And it looks like crows develop this behavior by watching other crows mob humans. This suggests that crows learn from each other and from their experiences, which is something that humans do too. There's even more evidence that crows are super smart. Like they have really good memories. They can remember the faces of individual humans for years, and they can remember where they've seen food before. And not only that, they can count. In one experiment, researchers gave crows different numbers of tokens in exchange for food, and the crows were able to tell the difference between 1, 2, and 3 tokens. And they also know what numbers mean. If they see you give someone else a token, they understand that that person will get food after they give you back the token. So yeah, crows are pretty smart. And there's even more evidence that they're smarter than we thought. It's like they can recognize themselves in the mirror, which is something that only a few other animals can do. We don't know exactly how smart crows are. They might be able to solve some problems that we haven't thought to test them on yet. So scientists will probably continue to be fascinated by them and their big brains for a long time. Speaking of big brains, you have one, and if you want to use it, you can subscribe. It's free.